Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to today's Tech Talk. I'm Joe Rafanelli, Director of Technical Solutions. You might remember me from previous Tech Talks. Today, everybody's going to have a treat for our developers here. We're going to be addressing a common challenge, right, faced by many organizations modernizing undocumented legacy applications to focus on techniques for reverse engineering legacy systems as Visual Fox Pro and VB6 and transforming them into modern, scalable REST APIs. Super excited to have my subject matter expert SME, Manoj. He's been with Macrosoft for many, many years, actually 16 plus years. I'll let him introduce myself and then we'll go through the questions and then we'll have some chat questions at the end so audience can participate. But Manoj, go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Uh, Thanks, Joe. I'm pretty excited to be here and talk about one of my favorite topics, bringing legacy systems into the future without losing the heart of the business logic. They have been running on for decades.
You techie guys are very excited about this stuff. This is good. I love this. Okay. So let's just start at the top, right? So we're going to go. So why is reverse engineering legacy logic such a critical and difficult task?
Great question, Joe. When we talk about a legacy migration, the difficulty lies in three things. The most common one is lack of documentation, then tight coupling of business rules with a UA or database logic, and implicit knowledge that only long retired employees might have had. In systems like VFP or VB6, business rules are often embedded in form level code or scattered across the stored procedures. When you try to modernize, you are not just translating the code, you are uncovering the tribal knowledge and also trying to understand the years of patchwork fixes.
Yeah, and I imagine that's a daunting task. You know what I mean? I imagine
Yes,
that's a very
yes.
daunting task. So a lot of things going on with this, right? So how do you even begin extracting these business rules, from such we're calling like spaghetti code? It must be a tough thing to do, but again,
Yeah,
how do you
yeah,
extract it?
yes, Joe. It's definitely not easy, but we use a structured multi-angle approach to break the things down, and let me walk you through it. I have got a visual that helps. Yeah, here is the list. The first one is static code analysis. Analyzing the legacy code is where everything has to start. We start by scanning the code using the tools like code metrics or even custom built parsers. These help us to build call graphs and dependency trees so we can support logic clusters and key execution paths. The data flow mapping is the next step. Here we trace how data moves through the system from the moment it comes in to where it gets validated and finally stored. We keep an eye on the things like global variables, temp files, and flags that often drive hidden logic across the modules. Next, we have to examine the UA behavior, forms, button clicks, dialog flows. These often reveal embedded decision logic. We use UA automation tools to simulate the user actions and capture how the system responds. Next is transaction simulation. To get a real world view, we should simulate the typical business workflows like, for example, we can say like invoice creation or approval chains. Uh, we track how variables change at each step, often using debug tools or the wrapping key functions to log the activity. Last but not the least, SME interviews. Here we talk to the people who have been using the system for years, basically the business users and operators. They help us to uncover the edge cases and exceptions that are not visible in the code. Everything we extract not matter the source, get it documented in a plain language first. Only after that, we are starting thinking about converting into APIs or a new API structure that way.
Yeah, I love that approach, and thank you for that visual aid. It definitely helps as you're going through it. It definitely seems like there's a team that goes through all this. It's not a one person job. It sounds like you got a team handling all the stuff that's going on. So obviously it takes a while to get past that step. All right. So once you have the logic, right? So how do you translate it into an API centric model?
Yes. Once we have extracted the logic from the legacy system, the next big step is to translating it into a modern API centric architecture. Let me walk you through how we approach that. Yeah, start with domain driven design. We break the legacy logic into smaller, focused services based on business functions. For example, instead of a one giant code base, we now have services like customer services, invoice services, or payment services. We are splitting the individual services like this. Then we have to define a clear API contracts using OpenAI or Swagger. We document exactly what each API expects and returns, including data types and we can say error messages and edge cases. This creates a shared understanding between backend and front-end teams. Then we will refactor business logic into services. In this step, all the business rules, even ones that were hidden in UI buttons or scripts, are restructured into clean backend services. We focus on reusability and clarity. So each function does one job and does it well. Next is to add validation and security. At the API gateway, we handle input validation and apply security standards like the OAuth2 and JWT. That's commonly using and for securing the APIs that ensures only the right data gets in and only authorized users get access. The fifth steps, you can see the unit testing. We write unit test for every endpoint to make sure a new APIs behave exactly like the legacy logic. Mocking helps simulate any external systems we rely on. And so it's not just about lifting the code from one place to another. It's about transforming logic into well-structured, secure, and scalable services. That way, we are not only modernizing, we are setting things up for long-term agility.
Very well said. Because I think that's what folks would expect, but it's something that I know that we would take care of. And the other thing I was thinking about as you're going through it, probably takes a pretty experienced person to go through all these steps to make sure you got them right and buttoned down and tested. So I'm sure you've been through this many, many times, and I know you're speaking, to experience. So definitely appreciate that and all the work you've done here at Microsoft. Okay, so let's talk about databases. These legacy systems often sit on older database engines. Basically, what is the strategy of Microsoft?
Absolutely. That's a big one. A lot of these older systems using the things like DBF files from Visual Folks Pro or Access MDBs. These are basically flat file databases with very little structure or so no real relational integrity, or basically it's not built for today's scale. Here is how we tackle it step by step. Yeah, first we reverse engineer the schema. We use tools to pull out the visual representation of the database tables, columns, and relationships. And if those relationships are not defined in the database, we dig into the data manually to figure it out how things are connected. Then we are normalizing the data. Most legacy tables like the DBF or MDB, the tables are big, flat, and redundant. We break them down into cleaner or more structured forms, usually 3NF or 2NF, so we can reduce the duplication to get things organized. This is where we also identify lookup values or constants list and turn those into proper reference tables. Next, yeah, we can create a data mapping matrix. This is a detailed map that says field A in the old system becomes the field B in the new one. It also captures any transformations, like if a date format needs to change or status code needs to be renamed. We don't move bad data, so we clean it first. That means removing the duplicates, sometimes fixing the inconsistent formats, and resolving missing values, etc. So we want to we want the new system to start with clean, reliable data, not carry over old problems. Once we are ready, we build ETL pipelines. We might use tools like SSIS or Python scripts to extract, transform, and load the data into modern database like SQL Server or PostgreSQL. We validate every step to make sure nothing breaks along the way. And finally, we run both systems in parallel. For about 1 to 3 months, we run the legacy systems and the new APIs side by side. We compare the outputs to make sure that everything matches and the new system behaves exactly as expected. So the idea is not just move the data, it is to clean it, structure it, and make it is future ready.
So it appears to me that a lot of time goes into the database strategy, and that probably evolved over time as you get more and more experience. What you explained makes perfect sense. I'd like to, make sure that whatever data you're transferring over is working properly and testing it and making sure clients are getting, what they're expecting to get in terms of functionality. So again, it looks like it evolved over many years, and it looks like these are very, very important steps to take when it comes to the database moving. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. So once the APIs are built and the back end is modernized, right? How do you ensure users transition smoothly?
That's a great point. And really, it is one of the most important parts. Tech transformation is not just about the code, it's about the people.
Right.
If the users are not confident in the new system, the project, we can say the project is a failure. Here is how we make a transition smooth and user friendly. We start with stakeholder workshops. We bring in users early, even before the system goes live. They get to see demos, like ask questions and understand what's changing. This builds trust and prepare them for the change. Next is pilot rollouts with the power users. We identify a group of experienced users, like folks who really know the current system inside out. They test the new setup first, give feedback, and often become the champions who help others during the rollout. Then comes training that's actually useful. We don't just drop a PDF on the people and hope for the best. We provide interactive walkthroughs, side-by-side comparisons of the old and new workflows, and short videos that we show how to do the key task. like that. People learn faster when they can see and try the things. That's our experience.
Absolutely.
Another step is to keep shadow for confidence. During the transition, we keep the old UI active, but behind the scene, it is using the new APIs. This gives users time to adjust while ensuring the backend is already modernized. Finally, hands-on support. We offer real-time support during the rollout, whether it's live chat, helpless teams, or even on-site support. The goal is to make sure no one feels stuck or left behind. So for us, change management is integrated into the process, like a note and afterthought. We don't just deliver new software. We make sure the people are ready to use it with confidence.
Love it. Yeah, change management process I know is very, very important to Microsoft. We have a detailed process that we follow, and like I said, it's very important because you know there's going to be changes because some of those applications are very, very old, and over time there's going to be changes, and to focus in on that as you're doing the modernization, makes perfect sense. So thank you for explaining that to us. Okay, so I have one last question before we go to chat, the chat questions. All right, so how do you measure success, for these projects, which is pretty important, obviously very important for clients to
Yes,
understand the success
definitely.
that you,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. A great question, Joe. See, success is not just one thing. It's both quantitative and qualitative. You need hard numbers, but also real feedback from the people using the system. We have some steps to crack it. Here's what we can track. From a developer point of view, code complexity reduction. We look at metrics like a psychromatic complexity to see if the code base is getting cleaner and easier to maintain. This really helps in ensuring the software has a long and structured life. Next one is like API reusability. One big measure of success is how widely the new APIs are adopted across different modules, apps, or even teams. A visible attribute is performance improvements. We track things like API response times and how the system holds up under load. Faster system always makes a user happy. Next one is like defect rate reduction, which again makes the developers' life easy. This is simply means less number of bugs, especially the kind that common in the legacy system. User satisfaction is equally important as the previous ones. We run NBS surveys and collect direct feedback to understand how users are feeling about the new experience. We also want to check the time to release. And finally, we look to how quickly we can roll out the new features after the migration. The goal is always to speed up delivery without compromising the stability. So in short, we can say like success is not just about launching a new system. It's about making it faster, cleaner, and more successful.
Again, well said. Performance is very important to our clients as well as anybody else when you're dealing with your application. I love that we're taking those steps to make sure, folks are happy, and if they're not, there's obvious support that we can provide to ensure, like I said before, the system functions as it should, and everyone is not as everybody's happy, not just a few people. So it's
Yes.
nice that we take that extra mile. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to audience questions. Oh, we got one already here. Okay. How do you handle scenarios where there are no source code, only the running legacy app?
Okay. Actually, we would love to have source code to work with,
Yeah.
but in some scenarios, we may not have the proper source code. The client is not used to maintain the source code like that. In such cases, like SME interviews and user demos are the main two. Rest, our team will be have to perform behavioral observation, note down the changes in database, and document the business rules. It's basically double the task and needs a clear workflow and constant communication with the client.
Yeah, it's so much better getting the source code. I know what you're saying, Manoj, but yeah, getting the source code is not get. I'm sorry, not getting the source code is
It's not,
makes it a much tougher task. Okay, next one. Can we modernize the back end while still keeping the legacy front end temporarily?
yes, absolutely. That's a hybrid modernization strategy. In most cases, once we have completed the backend migration, we can stitch it into the legacy front end. So we exposes the APIs and use adapters or wrappers that the legacy front ends call those APIs until the full UI migration is done. So the user can compare with the legacy data and the new converted API data.
Yeah, that's key, right? That's key for
Yes,
clients to know that before the
yes,
full because the migrations sometimes take time, and you definitely want to see that progress.
yes.
Okay. What kind of team composition do you recommend for such modernization?
Yes, Joe. Actually, the team structure plays a key role in success of any project. In
Agreed.
case of migration, an ideal team should include like a legacy system analyst who should analyze the legacy code and extract the business logic, a modern API architect and a data migration specialist, QA with experience in regression testing, and of course a scrum master to manage all these things.
It definitely has to have a team.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah, I know we've staff these projects all the time, and agree with you. There's definitely 5, 6, 7 people, depending on the size of the application, that a team would have to be, extract, understood and put into the right spots and allocated to the project. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to close the session. I want to thank Manoj so much for his expertise. We can tell you're very passionate. You opened up saying you were excited, and I got that feeling from you. I know you do these all the time. So we definitely appreciate that. Also appreciate the audience questions. They were also very, very good. So we're at a point where, the reverse engineering legacy system isn't just about the code, as Manoj had said. It's about understanding the business, which is key, the people, right? And making sure the new system is better in every way. And that's what you would get, with Macrosoft, not just migrating the old, but trying to make it better and making it future proof once it's fully migrated. Okay, so at this point, I want to put up my contact information. If anybody didn't ask a question or you have some comments, certainly go ahead and give me a call. We can even, look at your application, give you some numbers on how much it would cost to migrate. But for now, I want to thank everybody again. Until our next tech talk, everybody have a wonderful day, if you will. And until next time, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.